Good morning. This is your Lockdown Live number 49. So, firstly, I want to say apologies for yesterday. For some reason, there was no sound. I'm hoping that somebody will let me know that we have sound on today's live. So, hopefully, somebody will tap in and just let me know that you can hear me okay. Which was a little bit lonely, I have to say. We're going to look at managing coming out of lockdown. Yesterday's subject was coming out of lockdown. Okay. Well, yesterday's subject was coming out of lockdown with young people, and today's was always going to be coming out of lockdown, easing gently out of lockdown for adults. I'm going to combine the two today, so I'm going to talk really, really quickly. How are you doing? Firstly, are you okay? The first thing on both days was baby steps. Take everything really, really slowly. With children, uh, it's about recognizing changes. Don't try and hide anything. Be honest. Be factual with them. You know, things are going to change. We've been doing this, but now things are going to change to this. Have conversations. Plan what the new normal might be for them. So discuss it. This is all about communication. Be open with any worries that you might be having. We don't be open with worries because we want them to be worried, but we want them to know that we are also infallible and we are humans and all the rest of it. Self-care for you is really, really important. Self-care for you, I say this often, self-care is important for you because if you're not solid in the center of all this as the primary carers, and I'm going to assume that it's the parents watching this and not the children, then you can't be there for other people. Coping strategies. So remember, we did something on regulation a few weeks ago. Remember that you do your own regulation by deep breathing or butterfly taps, or you teach them to your children as well and teach them how to regulate. This, teaching young people that skill there empowers them so much because all of a sudden they have control over this whole system. So please do that. Please teach them. Teach yourself if you haven't yet learned, and then teach your children because it is absolutely, oh my goodness, it's so important. I can't even say how important it is. In terms of adults, so remember that if we're dealing with young people, then we have to do all of this before we can deal with them. Control what can be controlled. So by that, I've been saying this since March last year, and it's about kind of, it felt like we lost a lot of control, we lost a lot of freedom, and what I kept saying to people was focus on what you can control, because if we focus on what we can't control, then everything gets bigger and more frustrated, and we feel more and more trapped. Yeah, if we focus on what we can control, even if it's little things like what can you have for tea, how far can you walk, where can you walk, all little things like that, things that you really can control, then all of a sudden we feel empowered by that. Excuse me. Build up tolerance. This is really important for you and young people. If you have a lot of anxiety about being outside again, going to parties, going to big gatherings, then build it up slowly. Because what we want to do is gently ease the mind back into it. Okay, so but if we overwhelm the mind, it shuts down and it becomes too much, or we have a panic attack, or we literally just shut down and go back into our shell. But everything is about building up the tolerance again, building up slowly to points where you feel comfortable in crowds, you feel comfortable maybe hugging somebody. All of these things build up tolerance. Really, really important. Vary routines. We vary routines because again, it plays with the mind a little bit and it keeps challenging it, but very, very gently. So I don't know, let's say I always leave this house and walk a certain way. And sometimes when I walk another way, it's like my mind goes, oh, we're going this way. Change routines, change the way you walk to school, change the way you walk to work, just change stuff because it really really gently challenges the mind. Talk to work about how you feel. That's really important as well. So if you are feeling really anxious about going back into the office environment, then talk to them about it and see what they can do. See how they can help. I'm doing a lot of work at the minute with different companies around wellness and getting people back into the office. And it's all about gently easing people back in, but also having conversations, having really, really honest conversations. And over the last 2 weeks, I've been training upper managers to have difficult conversations, because it's not a skill that everybody has automatically. So it's been really nice to kind of step in and say, okay, so this is how we have difficult conversations. Focus on the present. Why do we focus on the present? Because if we focus on the present, what's here, what's right now, then usually we are more calm and more peaceful. If we're worried about the future, then it usually brings more anxiety, because we don't know, we don't know, we don't know, we don't know. You know, if you're really excited by what's happening and you're really easy with it, and that's brilliant. I love that. But there are people out there that will struggle with this. So I guess what I want to add into that as well is, let's show some compassion to the people that are struggling a little bit, and that are still struggling, and that are really wary about being back out into the world in its fullest form, let's say. Bring things that are certain back into focus. We do this because it's a little bit like living in the here and now, focus on the present. When we are certain about something and we bring it into our presence. So my certainty today is that I'm going to sit here and I'm going to work, and that's my certainty. And it seems like a strange certainty when I say it, but if I start worrying about what's going to happen next week or the week after that, then it becomes uncertain, and that's when my mind starts kind of playing a little bit and starting to get quite anxious. Okay, all of this stuff and more will be covered next Wednesday on my second to last Wellness Wednesday. That's next Wednesday at 7 o'clock. All of this stuff here will be covered then in much greater detail. Also, just to mention, really sorry, we have changes to the format. So this tomorrow will be my last lockdown live on like a 5 daily basis. From next week onwards, we're going to go 1 day a week. Friday morning, I'll do the same kind of format, covering information that I feel that you might need. These lockdown lives were only ever put on to help us through this current situation. So yeah, from tomorrow will be my last daily, and then going weekly after that with the wonderful home radio. Your action for happiness calendar today is, I don't plan this. Honestly, I don't plan this. Stay fully present. Stay fully present whilst drinking your tea or your coffee. So that's about, it's a little bit of mindfulness in there. It's about taking your tea or coffee, this is water, and like really, really tasting it. How often do you take a drink of tea or coffee and just throw it down your neck? How often do you do that? You could do it with chocolate as well. I'm terrible with chocolate. I'm terrible at eating chocolate and just going, woo, shovel it in, without actually going, this is really tasty, this is really nice, and I can smell it. And that's all a little bit of mindfulness right there. Okay, so I'm going to go and get on with my work, and I will be back tomorrow morning for the last of a regular lockdown lives, or I'll see you next Wednesday at 7 o'clock for more on this. I want to go into this easing out of lockdown in a lot more detail next Wednesday. Okay, I wish you an absolutely wonderful, wonderful day and an amazing weekend if you don't tune in tomorrow morning. Okay, take care. Peace and love. Bye bye.